Hello and welcome back everyone, HeirofCarthage here in Total War Rome 2, and I've got something exciting here for you. Not only is this another awesome replay from Hotel Soap, but he also has Number in this battle, and Number is a member of the community that is doing a whole bunch of Rome 2 replays, and he's also got some mods out there. I believe he was involved in the Unconquered Sun, I could be wrong, but this is another mod, which is DMC. And the DMC, let me just go make sure I get what it stands for right, so bear with me just a second, is Definitive Multiplayer Balance Changes. You can find this if you go search DMC, but you know what, I'll just link it in the description, DMC. Anyway, yeah, go check it out. It is definitely going to be interesting, and as far as, well, what does this mod do? Well, it does a lot of things, but just to kind of try and make it at a more basic level, let's go ahead and number one, I'll start loading up the replay here. This one's going to be Rome versus Iceni, as you can see. It says it implements a few minor balance changes that drastically change the game. It says some of which include infantry precursor javelins getting their bonus versus cavalry reduced, skirmishers no longer being allowed to spaghetti line, several additions of unused units and assets, and other minor balancing changes across the board. So essentially, it's going to throw things into a different mix, and we'll go ahead and check out some gameplay with this. Check out Triari here, too. That looks different. I don't know if this is different, but that spear damage may be a little different. I'm not 100% sure there. But let's see, the auxiliary Balearic slingers, again, they can't spaghetti line anymore. There's a Velite over here. So it looks like four Velites. And a line of Triari for Rome, interesting up against the Iceni, so maybe he was expecting to have to stop a lot of chariots, or just didn't figure that he had to spend all his money on heavy infantry. I'm curious to see where this goes, to be honest. And we do have the Roman special abilities there, too. And then, oh boy, here comes the Iceni with some Britain Scout Riders. Coming in skirmishing off the flank. They're very Iceni-like, you know, coming in hidden. I like that. There are some Roari, which is a cheap spear unit there on the flank. There's some Saki Equites on this flank, and then over here on the left, we're going to see Auxiliary Cav and Saki Equites. Legatus as the commander, and over here for the Iceni, we can see some Britain Slingers up front. Those should be pretty good up against the Balearic Slingers since it's 3-2, but I don't know, we'll see. We got Chosen Sword Bands up front for the Iceni, some painted ones, which remember those have some scare. Levy Freeman, who are unfortunately going to be feeling quite a nerf since they lost some of that bonus versus cavalry. There are Heroic Riders back here, and Heroic Nobles as well. So a couple of Heroic Nobles, and that is a Druidic Noble for support in the middle, so pretty cool unit there. And the Iceni are going to begin the skirmish. The Balearics are going to move up and hit their rapid reload, which means that they will be significantly outgunning any one Britain Slinger, though they will be up against, like I said, the numbers. And without the spaghetti lines, that could change things a little as well. But so far, the Balearic Slinger's off to a solid start. They really haven't taken a lot of damage. Oh, no. Number is going after the Legatus, and he just eats it right there. That's rough. The Roman commander took a face full of Slinger bullets there. So the Roman going for combat early here, or just maybe hoping to use the spears to fix. Yeah, notice the positioning here, the Velites. I think the intent might be to try and get javelins in between these infantry units to a degree. So, I don't know, we'll see whether that plays out, but it certainly looks like that might be part of the positioning here, is let the Triari hold and then just dump cheap javelins into the Iceni. Could have been intended to slow down chariots and cavalry, but may also work against swords. I'm not 100% sure. I'm taking some guesses at liberty here. Sword bands are colliding with the Triari. I don't know what, if any, changes have been made to the Triari. I'll let Hotel Soap speak to that in the comments and tell you all more, should he choose to drop by. And then on Number's side, let's see what he's doing. He's going to bring the painted ones up on this flank. So far, the Triari seem to be holding quite well against the Iceni assault here. They're taking a beating, to be sure, but they're holding, at least for the moment. And then like I said, the javelins pouring in like crazy. Those auxiliary Balearic Slingers are up real close now. They gunned out one of the Slingers, and it looks like they still had a move order to get closer to it. But it looks like they've ceased now. Those Britain Scout Riders are in the rear. And check it out, the Heroic Riders over here making an impact on that flank. Looks like they made a charge in here, though they're kind of pinned down, and they're taking some javelins. And look at this, another Triari coming in to fill it. So The Iceni General could be in a bit of trouble here if it can't get out of there. The sword band's gonna charge the Roari. It shouldn't be any big threat there in a melee. Can that Iceni General get his way out of there? Ooh, those Scout Riders all over the place. It's a tough position for the Iceni General. But the Roman Legatu's about to kick the bucket, but Rome does a little better whenever they lose their general than most factions because most of their troops are quite disciplined. Look at those Briton slingers focusing out that Balearic slinger. So they're staying busy. There's still a Sakiek or an auxiliary cab back here that might start trying to thread the needles. It does have to worry about these heroic riders. Heroic rider making a bit of a mistake there, bumping into the spear. The Iceni General escapes to live another day. A long, drawn-out fight between the Triarii, and I guess that kind of makes sense. These are Rome's veterans. They are being worn down, though, because that was a lot of spear infantry against a whole lot of pretty solid sword infantry. We did get a breakthrough here. Chosen sword band breaking through some there, and we're going to see the Saki Equite come and challenge that breakthrough. It's a ragged fight over here on the Iceni left. Rome and Iceni both just really slugging it out with each other. Not much happening on the far right flank of the Iceni. And I'm going to come in here, spear band now, up into that auxiliary cavalry. They can probably get some pretty good damage done there. Here comes that heroic rider pushing through. It's going to get to the Balearic slingers. This one says that it's souring against Rome, and that's kind of where my mind's thinking, but I don't know. We'll see whether well, yeah, Rome is in pretty rough shape. Look at their infantry line starting to go there with the loss of the general. And the Iceni are going to push through this one. That is an interesting build with Rome. An interesting one indeed. I'm actually going to go play another battle while we're here too. Give you all a couple of battles in one. But this one was curious how that one played out. Interesting pick with all the Triarii. They may have had changes made to them that Hotel Soap was wanting to try out here, or he just likes this Triarii build. I've seen him do some work with it in the past, different variants of it. It's one that I think a lot of people don't expect. And it makes the Romans play a little bit different maybe sometimes than what people are expecting from them. But good work by Number here. He's going to pull out a pretty solid victory against the Romans, and I'll be curious to hear from them on whether there are more differences, like what were some of the subtle differences between Rome and Iceni here, other than the big ones that I named off early on. In fact, I could probably switch it over here while this continues to play out for a moment and see if I can get a lead on this. Give me just a second. All right, there we go. So it says, yeah, bonus versus cav and elephants on precursor javelins is removed. And volleys of levy Freeman javelins no longer delete elite cavalry. So yeah, that's some of the bigger changes there. Let's see if there's extra missile block chance to shield wall. That's cool. And shield screen hoplite wall. It says small roster balance changes. Every unit now has a purpose. So it sounds like they've gone through and done some tweaking. Reduced accuracy for low tier slingers. That makes sense. Increased unit size for pikes and harder to flank. Now that's cool. I like that. Trying to give pikes a purpose. It says nerfed camel cataphracts by reducing acceleration and turn speed in between super heavy shock and very heavy shock. Now, okay, that makes sense. Added charge defense against large to all mid-tier spears. So that'll be nice. Kind of help them be a little more role fulfilling. I think if you all have noticed, like the mid-tier spears in Rome 2 don't get used a lot, because if they get hit on the charge, they just die anyway. And then it says fixed a bunch of unit weights being displayed incorrectly on the unit cards. Some roster additions of unused units and mercenaries. Garrison units are now available in multiplayer. So that's something that you didn't... I think that's a Roari maybe right there. Less spaghetti for skirmishers. Peltist are more useful as hybrid units now. Re-added flanking morale penalty for units. Nice. Terrain features now also affect unit stats, not just speed. And it says graphical fix. Iberian Soliferum javelins are displayed correctly during fight. Nice! We actually get the Soliferum javelins. That's probably one of the coolest changes. Thank you, Number, to those changes. Let's go check out another battle here real quick. I'm going to load in another one. So yeah, let's grab this Bactria versus Getae. Oh, I want to see Pergamon. All right, so let's go check out Pergamon versus Arverni here, because Pergamon is ever the underdog. Curious to see how they perform here against the Arverni, who are quite well established as a sword-heavy faction and good heavy cavalry. So Pergamon's going to be rocking in some Pergamene noble cavalry. Look, their weight has been changed here. Yeah, as a heavy shock cavalry. Interesting, because he said they adjusted some of the weights of the cavalry. So they definitely have been adjusted there. Because I can tell their banner changed. So the Pergamon noble cavalry is the general, and then it looks like a light horse supporting on each flank. We have some Galatian swords, and I don't remember all the stats on these units, so I couldn't tell you what the huge differences are. We're going to have Agema spears in this line, yeah, so it looks like 3 Agema spears. Oof, no, 5 Agema spears in total. Citizen Cav. Line of Peltis, which remember are supposed to be better hybrid units now. They did not change to the 120 count like they did in the Unconquered Sun mod. It said they were better as hybrids, so maybe some stat tweaks like the weapon damage or something like that. Charge bonus maybe looks like it's up a little bit. So interesting. We got slingers up front, and then on the Arverni side of things, we got a line of Celtic warriors up front, followed by chosen spearmen. Interesting to see those there. And then we're going to have some naked warriors behind them, 2 of them. Levy Freeman and a spear warrior, and then 2 heavy horse, a noble horse, 2 light horse, and a spear noble. So now Number is the one taking the almost all spear build, and I guess in a lot of ways that makes sense against Pergamon, because Pergamon does have some, I would call it capable shock cavalry. It's not amazing, but it's going to be capable. However, you'll notice that the Arverni are not showing any skirmishers right now, but I remember on that load-in screen I saw some Gallic hunters, which are the archers that have the stalk and snipe capabilities, so we'll be seeing them stand off against these Pergamene slingers. And no doubt that I would think that Hotel Soap's expecting something if he took the time to think through it, because there's obviously enough missing spend here. Now, look at this. Going to use shield screen to get up here, because remember we just talked about the missile block chance change. So it's going to use shield screen to try and increase the block chance and maybe get those slingers in a little closer. And it does look like that's working, because now the slingers are going to come in and aim for the Celtic warriors. And let's see if that brings the Gallic hunters within range. We'll see if arrows start flying here any moment. Oh, those Celtic warriors. They're not going to like getting shot up by those slingers. Let's see whether those Gallic hunters show up. I would expect that we'll see them here shortly. Cavalry on the move here from Arverni. It's going to head up the left flank to 2 light horse and a heavy horse. Headed that way. There's a lancer coming to meet them, and now it turns towards the skirmishers. This might be the distraction that the Gallic hunters are waiting on. Let's see. Citizen cavalry to ward it off. Nicely played. Celtic warriors actually moving up front now. Yep, there's the hunters starting to fire. They took a shot at the citizen cavalry. They were still in snipe, but I saw those arrows fly. Interesting, the Gallic warriors, or Celtic warriors, are going to retreat now. Ooh, that precursor toss was a good one right there from that light horse into that Pergamene noble cavalry. It was pretty well done. Oh, they're going to eat one in return, though. So some damage done to both sides there. Yeah, the Celtic warriors continued to take heavy fire from those 2 Pergamene slingers. The Gallic warriors, or sorry, the Gallic hunters still just kind of holding, taking their time. They don't appear to be in too much of a hurry. That Celtic warrior is now combat ineffective. It's been hit so hard. It doesn't take much to make a unit combat ineffective if the slingers get to work it in the right opportunity. These slingers just move closer, so they may come into range of those Gallic hunters now. We shall see. Gallic hunters are expensive and have to be used properly, so may see Arverni be pretty patient with them and try and hold them for the right moment. Alright, a bit of a push by the Arverni here. They're up close to the edge of Peltist range. You definitely wouldn't want to walk into that withering javelin barrage. The Celtic warriors are, though. I guess having been shot by the slingers, they might now see if they can draw out some javelins from those Peltists, and they're going to. Happy Javelin Day. Alright, here comes the heavy horse. Charge into the Galatian swords, but it is immediately countered by Pergamene nobles. And here comes the javelins from the light horse, and then some Levy Freeman in support. That heavy horse is getting torn apart. It's going to be reinforcements from another Galatian sword. Celtic warriors headed that way. Chosen spearmen headed that way. And a lot of javelins expended on that on that Celtic warrior. That might have been a good trade. It looks like the units that were maybe trying to rout or something, they were chucking the javelins at him. Now the slingers are firing on the chosen spears. Still no sign of those Gallic hunters. Yeah, one of them popped up over here. And so we'll see. It may be trying to gun for the cavalry. Archers are quite good against cavalry. That heroic, or that, yeah, noble horse is going to be potentially really good here. Right, yep, here comes the Gallic hunters. I can see a couple of them unloading. It looks like on an Agema spear. There's going to be a tremendous number of javelins coming across the front from Pergamon. Really, honestly, a scary amount because you have the Agema spears and the peltist. That is just an absolutely horrific number of javelins. If by horrific, I mean amazing and fun because I love javelins. So the naked warriors here and the Celtic warriors coming in, they are going to break through a Galatian sword. There is a second one, and it looks like it may be about to eat a charge. No, noble horse reformed. They are dangerously out here in javelin range. Yeah, they're about to start eating it. Here they come. They're going to come in and make that charge, but they're going to be dangerously exposed. And there's another lancer headed their way as well. Comes the spear nobles. Chosen spears up in combat against the Agema spears. I don't know how that's going to go. I mean, stat-wise, those Agema spears look better. So I think they're going to hold. I see the same 31 damage on those Agema spears that I was seeing on the Triari from the last battle, so they may be improved here. Alright, push coming down this flank. Here comes the noble horse. Noble horse immediately going to be intercepted by the Pergamene noble cavalry. Those guys almost look a little bit slow. I wonder, it said the very heavy maybe? I wonder if they were affected by that nerf where they turn and accelerate a little slower. That may be the case, because they looked a little slow coming into that turn. The Spear Noble has gotten into combat, and it is doing quite well so far. It's cleaning house. That's going to be a relentless army ability coming off there. It's going to improve attack across the line here. Here comes a reinforcing Spear Warrior. The line is holding for Pergamon, and I think Pergamon is, at least so far, successfully at least holding back the Arverni cavalry assault. I think they're actually winning that cavalry assault, if I'm seeing this right. As that noble horse got shredded. Yeah, these guys feel like they're turning slower and accelerating more slowly. Because see right there, they finally picked up their speed. So that may be the trade-off with the very heavy cavalry now, is that you've got to operate them with a little more intent. You can't just count on like immediate quick charges. Gallic warriors stepping into range here of the slingers. The slingers have them under fire. Let's see what the Gallic warriors are targeting. That Spear Noble is getting a little bit beat up here. There's a Galatian sword coming into the flank. Gallic warriors are going to start targeting that Galatian sword. This one's under some pretty solid slinger fire right there. Here comes another heavy horse, and the Arverni are going to stay in this thing in terms of the cavalry fight. And in this situation right here is not looking too bad if those warriors can defeat that Agema spear. They do have good morale. That Galatian sword's getting shredded, but so is the Spear Noble General. Interesting trade there for the Arverni. If they lose their general, it's going to be very bad news. Yeah, Unity's going down. That should improve morale across the line. That's a good play because the Arverni General is probably about to die. So I think that's a good play to pop that now and try and hold together as much morale as possible. These units now getting a little bit blobbed up here because they're trying to attack, and they are just taking a pretty constant barrage of slinger fire. And it looks like the heavy horse is going to attempt to slow that down. A peltist being used to block, and then a Galatian sword coming in as well. It is going to be hard for them to silence those slingers entirely at this point. Unity paying some pretty good dividends, though. I'm not sure about how the morale of the Arverni was doing. This is an interesting one. It's relatively close in the power bar. I'm not really sure how this is going to swing at the moment. Let's see what those Gallic hunters can do. They are taking a lot of fire off of those slingers. They don't have a block chance, and their armor is incredibly low. They are pumping shots over here into these Agema spears on the flank. Not a terrible call. Their cavalry did get worn down there by that sword unit, and it's going to get fought to basically a draw here in the cavalry department. I think Pergamon is sliding ahead here There's a fair bit of infantry left, but we'll see. That one slinger's out of ammo, I would assume. The other unit is too. Okay, well, let's see how much ammunition the Gallic Hunters have left. They're shredding that Galatian sword. If they can then get away from and tear up that Agema spear, I would imagine we'll see them maybe change their target to that Agema spear here. And let's see how much ammunition they have left. But their ammunition could play a big role here. Yeah, that power bar's swinging around. It's swinging back and forth. Ooh, we got wavering going on for the Arverni. That is not good for the Arverni. Power bar is swinging around here. It wants to go against the Arverni. If these guys run out of ammo, then it is absolutely over. Maybe over anyway now because you have the slingers and the Agema spears pressuring here. Yeah, I think it's over for the Arverni. They've got no way to play this. That was close. It was a pretty close battle. That could have gone either way there for a minute. So that one's going to be well played. Let's see if those guys... No, they don't pull out a spear. Some people were thinking these guys pulled out a spear. They do not. The Gallic Hunters do not. It's the... what do you call it? The Cimbri Bowwomen do. And I think the Cimmerian Heavy Archers do. There's a few units that do, but it's not these Gallic Hunters. So there we go. Nice close replay there. So another good one between Number and Hotel Soap. So hope you all enjoyed these, and if you want to see more about the mod, make sure and go check out the link. Appreciate Number, Hotel Soap. These were a lot of fun. I love seeing the work that they put into Total War Rome 2, because I've said this before, and I will say it again. Instead of spending all their time on that politics system and the family tree, CA should have spent their time balancing and diversifying the rosters of all the factions, and then come back, or on top of that, added the family tree and the politics system. But I feel like that was a big miss, and it's cool to see what the modders can do with it, because in my mind it kind of tells me, what we could have had. And I always hope that people use this as an opportunity to think about what you're asking from CA, because they usually do give their fans a lot of what they want, especially if there's enough pushback. And I just imagine if all the people, instead of screaming about family tree, would have been screaming about faction diversity and unit balancing, I would have loved that a lot more. But in any case, here we go. It was a fun one. Hope you all enjoyed it. HeirofCarthage signing out. I will see you soon with some more action in Total War Rome 2.